Using the distributive property, simplify each expression. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look at the problems that have a subtraction within the parentheses. And as we talked about in class, in algebra, we tend to think of using addition when we can versus subtraction. And so we can change subtraction problems into addition problems by leaving the first number alone. We never ever change that, but we're going to change the subtraction sign to an addition sign. And when we do that, we have to change the sign of the next number in the subtraction problem to its opposite. So this is a positive 3n, so it's going to become a negative 3n. Once I have done that, I bump up against my parentheses, so I stop. I'm only changing the subtraction part of the expression to an addition. I don't change this negative to a positive out here because this is multiplication. I am multiplying once I get outside of the parentheses. So I'm only looking at what's inside the parentheses and changing that. Then I simply go through and I do my distribution of my negative 8 to these addends. They now become addends, the parts that I am adding, and I do the exact same thing that I did when I was doing my addition problems. So negative 8 times negative 4, negative times a negative is a positive, so that's positive 32. Negative 8 times negative 3n is a positive 24n. Let's move over to number 6. Again, I'm focusing on what is inside these parentheses because that's where the subtraction is taking place. The subtraction is not taking place outside the parentheses. So in looking at this, I leave this first part alone. This is called the minuend, by the way. So I leave this alone. I change the subtraction sign to an addition, which means I have to change the sign on the next number, which is the subtrahend, to its opposite. So it's going to become a negative. Now I go back and I distribute. 8 times negative b, remember there's a little negative 1b there. That's going to be negative 8b because a positive times a negative is a negative, and 8 times 1 is 8, and the b comes along with it, and 8 times a negative 4 is going to be negative 32. Number 7. First thing we're going to do is we're going to change this to an addition. Leave this number alone. Don't do anything with it. Change this to its opposite, which is addition, and change this to its opposite, which makes it a negative. Now we're going to distribute. Distribute, distribute. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 5 times negative 7n is negative 35n. Next one. Look at what's inside the parentheses where the subtraction is. Leave the first part alone. Change this to a plus. Change this to a negative. Distribute, distribute, and we're going to have 15m plus a negative 30. Problem 11, inside the parentheses, leave the b alone, change the subtraction to a plus, change the positive one to a negative one. Distribute, distribute. 5 times 1b is 5b. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. Page 2. Number 13. Look inside the parentheses. Change this to the opposite, which is addition. Change this sign on 8 to its opposite, which is negative. Looking back now, we're going to distribute. Negative times negative is positive, so 4 times 8 is 32x, plus negative times negative is positive 32. If you put a little plus sign there, that would be okay. Generally, when numbers are positive, we don't put a little plus sign up there, but doesn't make it wrong if you do. Number 15. Inside the parentheses, leave the first number alone, subtraction to addition, change the next number to its opposite, distribute, distribute. This has a little 1 in front of it. Negative 3 times 1x is negative 3x, plus negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15. Number 18. Only looking at what's inside the parentheses. Change the subtraction to a positive, change the next number to its opposite. Distribute, distribute. Negative 8 times 1 is negative 8, plus negative times a negative is a positive, so I have 40x. 19, 5k minus 4, change it to 5k plus a negative 4. Distribute, distribute. Negative 35k plus 28. Number 20, inside the parentheses, change the subtraction to an addition and the 6 to its opposite. Distribute, distribute. Negative 35a, negative times a negative is a positive, so I get plus 30. And the last one, number 22, leave the first part alone, change the next two to their opposites, distribute, distribute, 12r plus a negative 32. That is the end.